Free recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is February the 25th, 2014, Tuesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will lecture on Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2010, class number 339. And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatītam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilakṣyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatītam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha in Nirvana Prakarana, Purvardha, section 11. Sage Vasistha continues to inspire Rama for practicing Brahma Vichar. There are two types of movement in the mind: Vichar movement and Upasana movement. And mind is able to do these movements if it is backed up by purity. In other words, Vedas give you three main topics: Karma Marga, path of karma. That path of karma turns into Karma Yoga. Upasana Kand, that turns into Bhakti and Gyana. And Gyana Kanda turns into Vichar. It's interesting to understand the difference between Upasana and Vichar. Upasana is described as Swatantra. Vichar is described as Vastu Tantra. Hope you have understood it. Swatantra means you are free in your Upasana, whichever way you want. Absolutely no control. If you want to, you are meditating on Krishna, you don't ask people, how should I view him? Standing, smiling, with his flute, peacock should be close to him or a little away. I'm giving you all the details. All that up to you. If you are an artist painting the sun, it's up to you what you want to bring out in your art. But if you are studying the sun in a scientific way, then don't confuse the sun's rays and how long it takes to cover to the earth. Can't add 1 second to it. It is Vastu Tantra. So, if you want to allow your intellect to understand who am I, that process called Vichar, there you have no freedom. There you have to just follow rationality to the conclusion. Allow your intellect to go on understanding. Allow your intellect to turn into intuition. But Upasana prepares you for vichar. You become involved in japa, repeating the divine name. Spiritual aspirants, they begin with having mantra initiation. And God is presented in the form of one aspect. And that aspect again, according to the different minds, you choose different aspects. But having chosen a particular aspect, you view that aspect as the God, and all other aspects subservient to it. In other words, if your Ishta mantra is Rama, the Rama is at the highest, he is at the throne. All other gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all the Devis, they are all with their platters in their hands, adoring Rama. But if Ganesha is your deity, then Ganesha is top, top, top. All gods and goddesses worship him. That point should be well understood. That's the because whatever aspect you have chosen, that aspect is only leading you to the God. You have chosen one particular aspect because mind cannot work upon all the aspects at once. So according to your way of, the way your mind has been fashioned, according to your own attitudes, everyone is a little different. So you are given a particular deity. That deity opens up to God in all forms. All the deities are implied in that. That one step in Upasana. Next step in Upasana, now how are you going to meditate on God? So you follow your Rama, then you follow many stories you have heard. There are stotras of Rama, hymns praising Rama, likewise Krishna, likewise Buddha, likewise Jesus, whomsoever. And turn your mind to various saints and sages who have been thrilled by that particular aspect. All that is a part of Upasana. And in turn, you yourself create your own picture of Rama. You write your own poems, own prayer. And that follows your heart, bhavana. Bhavana is like painting. You can't just look at others, how is the person painting, and just do it exactly the others do. Not so. You follow your heart. Karma Yoga goes on removing impurities of the heart. And that allows you to step up to Upasana, which I described, Upasana, meditation, devotion. Upasana has two aspects. Meditation, mind must be well equipped, well disciplined to be focused. And when you have form of God to be focused on, then you have Gyana and Upasana have blended. Devout meditation. Veda uses only one word, Upasana. Sometimes in another context, Dhyana. Another way of saying is Smarana. Practice Smaran, Sumiran, remembrance of God. But now, come to the next level. Upasana removes vikshepa, distractions of the mind. Now come to the third level, Gyana. vichar, allowing your understanding to shine and become more and more focused. Gyana is just like opening your eyes, vision, without wearing specs of different types. The Gyana movement, you have to follow with precision all that is described about Brahman, about who am I, 3 bodies, 5 sheets, the understanding of Maya, understanding of Prakriti. All these follow like a science, mathematics. Don't add your own into it. But in Upasana, you can always add. Having gone through all that, let me move on to vichar. That's what the topic is. In the practice of vichar, the focus is, who am I? The question is raised by your intellect, but the answer is not in the level of intellect. Just like when you are dreaming, lots of dreams, and it occurs to you that this is not real, this is not it. That type of insight enters in your while you are dreaming, and once that insight has entered, that insight will wake you up. But when you are awakened, you don't remember who was the one working hard to wake up. The dream moves away. Keeping this in view, all your experiences which spread in 3 levels, 3 lokas, experiences that occur in the level of intellect and ego, deep-rooted experience. It's understanding the way it moves in your deepest level, in your heart. Here, when I'm using heart, it refers to the deepest center. That experience at the level of intellect and ego, that is the highest within you. Next level of experience is in the realm of mind. The mind has 2 aspects: feelings, sentiments, and lots of ideas. When you develop a world of feelings, feelings give you a type of experience that intellect doesn't give. So therefore, the experience arising out of feelings is another loka. And grossest, speaking in allegorical language, experience through your mind and senses. When you are aware of the world, objects of the world, enjoyments of the senses, that world is Bhurloka. Bhurloka relates to the navel center who are studying Kundalini Yoga. Bhuvarloka relates to your heart center. Swarloka relates to the Ajna Chakra. If you are confined to these lokas, you are a loco. Real you is beyond. Real you is up with Sahasrara Chakra, 1,000-petaled lotus. It's an allegorical description of a spiritual heart, the spiritual center, which is you, the deepest center. That's real you. But you have a sniff of who you are at the Ajna Chakra, between the eyebrows. And you have another type of experience of you, because you are consciousness. Another type of experience at the heart level. Another type of experience at the level of the senses. Three types of experiences blend in your personality. And these three are totally different from each other. You may be eating mangoes, that taste is totally different. Different from a mother seeing a child. That taste is totally different. Mother's experience with a child. And totally different from this, a scientist having resolved a big problem. Or a student of mathematics having resolved a certain problem of mathematics. And a clarity has come into his mind, intellect. Try to understand and figure out these three types that go to form you. And you are not confined to any of these three. These three are consciousness expressing itself, like the sun expressing itself through a cloud. And as it expresses, it has various levels of expression. In the cloud itself, it creates some special dazzle, shine. Down below, creates a rainbow. Down below, it creates lots of reflections. Sun is up there, but reflections live in Bhurloka. Rainbow lives in Bhuvarloka, and the shining cloud lives in Swarloka. And the sun is beyond the three lokas. And that is what you are essentially. The sun. Not anything of these three lokas. And that's a profound insight that has to get into your heart. And therefore it's not easy. You are given teachings again and again and again called Dada Parinyaya. Practice of listening, reflection, meditation must go on day by day. Abhyasa and Vairagya must be pursued tenaciously. All that to discover I am the sun, not these refractions, not the different phenomena created by it. I am pure awareness. I am not the awareness that is working through intellect and ego. I am not the awareness that is mingled with sentiments and emotions. I am not the awareness that is working with the senses and sense perceptions. All these are the awareness refracted. Refractions do not change the awareness. The sun is never hurt, injured, are affected by all these reflections. That I am in you is never affected, no matter how you live, what type of body you have, 5 feet, 6 feet, bent up body or very tall. That I am is not affected on the basis of your mind, whether it is confused, rumbling, grumbling, or distracted. Not affected by the type of intellect you have. A little sniff of that you are given every night when you go to sleep. All this moves away. 3 lokas move away from you. You are not having the sense experience, not having the experience of sentiments, not having the experience of intellect, ego, but you have an abstract experience of deep rest. And you have missed nothing. If you hold on to that and work upon it and bring it in your day-to-day consciousness, that I am that, the same one that was in deep sleep, I am the same one. The mind says, no. All these problems, what about it? In deep sleep, how was it? All these problems, even mosquitoes were dancing on you. So that is the project of Jnana Yoga, that's the project of Vichar. To understand I am Satchidananda, pure consciousness. All experiences that arise out of intellect, ego, out of the sentiments, senses, all these experiences are like imaginations. In this Paripurna Brahman, Brahman that is full like the allegorical symbol of the sky. All this world process is like Akasha Vriksha, a tree that is imagined in the sky by a child. And this great tree needs to be destroyed. That's your project. You have created a mysterious tree that doesn't have beginning and end in pure consciousness. And you have become like a bird caught in the tree. Your project is to destroy that tree. How can this tree be destroyed? By asankalpa. Do not give attention to it. How do you wake up from your dream? Suddenly it dawns upon your mind. Of course, I'm not talking about normally people, you just wake up. But there are times when people realize they are dreaming. And then there is a question, how can I get out of that? Which way to go? And then it dawns spontaneously, let the dream slide off. Don't give any value to it. That's called asankalpa. Don't give any value to it. Physical world, psychological world, all world, don't give. Be practical, and that's it. But don't hold on in your heart Deep down in your heart, you are absolutely rid of it. Keep your heart free from it. Put it in a very simple way, be like the sky. The sky is free of it. Clouds can come, the sky has no contradiction, no feeling of that is being contradicted by clouds. Clouds can be dark, dreary, can be shining and silvery. The sky is just the same. Adopt that vision within you, that's called asankalpa. You are not having any value for the three lokas. You will not be a loco anymore. You will be enlightened. Put into very practical level, anything negative within you becomes intensified when you worry about it. If you are sad, now you are worried. How can I become glad? This is going to haunt me now. And then we start looking at the diary. That's the way I felt 5 years back. That's the way I felt 10 years back. 15 years back, an astrologer told me, you are going to be in 7 years mess. You are giving importance to it. That's called sankalpa. You are giving importance to all those things, and therefore they continue to be your reality. If you don't give importance to it, just like you are waking out from a dream, all this slip away from you, or the sky that is untouched. That is the goal that has to be kept in view, and that art has to be practiced. How to keep the negative away from you in a detached way. In order to do that, then, therefore, practical point, satsanga. Get involved in something that switches your mind away from the negativity, puts your mind in touch with the positive within you. Once the positive within you becomes highlighted, you look around, where is the negative sitting? It's not there. Because negative was not your reality. That Paripurna Brahman, that's your essential nature. Paripurna, full. Brahman, the absolute. That Brahman is absolute joy, Sukhaika ras, Ek ras anand, homogeneous bliss. In other words, bliss all over. Brahman is fully contented in Brahman. From Brahman, all this proceeds. By Brahman, all this is sustained. Into Brahman, all this dissolves. All this is the world of Maya. All this relates to experiences that occur in your mind and in your intellect ego, in your mind, in your senses. All these emanate from Brahman. They are sustained by Brahman. They dissolve in Brahman. Think of the sun. All the phenomena arise out of the sun. The shining cloud, the beautiful rainbow, the shimmering waters, countless reflections. They all arise out of the sun. They are all sustained by the sun. They all dissolve in the sun because they are not real. They are appearances. Real never changes. Unreal, no matter how hard you try to hold it, it is changing minute by minute. All this in this world is nothing but Brahman. Ghat is Brahman, Pat is Brahman. You hear a lot in the old writings. Ghata, Pata. Ghat means jars, vessels. Pat, all types of garments, screens, clothes, ornaments, all. Ghat, Pat. All is Brahman. When you realize that, then all this becomes chatpat. Chatpat is interesting, tasty, delicious. This entire world process is like a snake superimposed upon the absolute consciousness, which is like a rope. Snake on rope. The entire world, in brief, is illusory. Just like the entire dream you experience. The dream is superimposed on your consciousness. Superimposition is not a real happening. A snake never sits upon the rope. It is the rope that is being misinterpreted as snake. So all human experiences are misinterpretation of the absolute I am. Just like in your dream, so many things happen in your dream. There may be a crowd of 1,000 people, all saying so many things. And not even a whisper that happens in that crowd is not your own consciousness. The entire experience is superimposed on your consciousness. Much in the same way, the real I am in you is absolute, timeless. All this world of time, space, and causation, all this is being experienced by a conditioned mind. Conditioned mind is like a cloud that is distorting the rays of the sun. When a cloud distorts the rays, countless things arise out of that distortion. Similarly, your mind does a miracle. It distorts the absolute awareness. And bondage arises because you develop an ego in the realm of mental projection. all this world in every level is subject to change because it is anitya, not eternal, because it is unreal. Waves rise and fall, they are constantly changing, but the ocean is the same. Just for understanding, an allegorical example. In the same way, all things are changing, rising and falling. But I am, the I am, your experience at the heart level, that experience is absolute. That never changes. And all things are made up of that truth that is deep in your heart. Just like all that arise out of the sun is made up of the sun. Every shine that you see, what is real in it? The sun. Giving another allegorical example. When you see countless golden ornaments, those ornaments are given different names. You have different sentimental values. But step back from your limited view of ornaments. What are you seeing? Gold. All golden ornaments are nothing but gold. In what way gold has become different? Simply because it has become your earrings or maybe something else. Gold remains the gold. In the same way, all things that you experience, the body, mind, objects around you, relatives, friends, even everything in your kitchen, your refrigerator, stove, all this are names and forms projected by the mind. The stuff underlying all, pure awareness. Therefore, when this Vedantic insight develops, your practice of devotion rises to higher level. Otherwise, practice of devotion is constantly, which temple can give me a real good darshan of God? And people have their big stories. If you want to Badri Kedar and see a particular temple, I went there and deity smiled. So people hold on to the idea. And time passes on and they go on cursing what a life we are living. The deity is up there and we can't go there. Money is not there. Even if it is there, people are busy investing it elsewhere. It becomes such a limited view of God that only He can be found somewhere. But when you study Vedanta, there isn't a thing which is not God. You don't have to go through digging up old ruins to find some sacred objects and then bring them in your house and feel great about it. Just bring any pinch of any object. Look at your finger. All this is Brahman. simple and very advanced teaching. And all this, therefore, ahame vedam sarvam. I am all this. I am is not limited to the body. Same word. For the ignorant, this world is filled with trouble. It's bhavasagar. It's an ocean, turbulent ocean. In that ocean, everyone somehow is struggling. Keeping the nose up is very difficult. They are getting suffocated. But to the Gyani, one who is enlightened, all this is the self. For the ignorant, all this is the source of misery. For the Gyani, all this is an expansion of joy. Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani. The entire world is nothing but Sita and Rama. In a vast ocean, so many waves rise and fall. They go through many turbulent relationships. And yet, from ocean's point of view, no one is born, no one dies. You have the possibility. Due to ignorance, you view yourself as a wave, unaware of the whole ocean sustaining you. Though all the data is there, but somehow the mind ignores it. How have you lived on so far when you were just a little pocket size? How many challenges you have faced? You have faced biggest of challenges when you didn't even have your ego, didn't even have your any intellect about it. But now, simply because you have become more intellectual, why are you making the challenges more painful? O Rama, loss of body, physical body, the loss of objects that you possess, the loss of the world you are experiencing, that's the same way as a wave subsides and its relationships all become disturbed. But nothing has happened. Ocean is just the same. Wake up from your dream. What is lost? Dream wasn't there. For a moment, you have a sense of loss. You had picked up a lot of fruits in the dream. Your basket was full. And you suddenly wake up. The entire world is like a surging ocean, ocean of Brahman. Undercurrents, waves, little waves, foamy waves, every little particle of the water, and all these variations that arise in connection with the ocean, they are nothing but the ocean. So look at the world with all its vast history, lots of good things, lots of bad things, lots of terror, lots of tragedy, lots of pralayas, deluge. All this is nothing but Brahman, the absolute. They are all this that your mind is seeing are waves. Transcending the mind or through the enlightened mind, all this is nothing but the absolute, unchanging, immutable. Mind, intellect, ego, subtle elements, senses, all these are illusory modification of Brahman, Brahma Vivarta, like rope turns into snake. It is Brahman that has developed twofold illusion. You look within yourself and you assert, I am this individual. I am the Jiva. Look around you, this is Jagat, this is the world. Jiva and Jagat, both have arisen because of ignorance about Brahman. Brahman, veiled by ignorance, expresses in the form of Jiva, individual soul, that evolves through the world process. Jiva and Jagat, they are illusory modifications of Brahman. Therefore, your task is, as you go on breaking the illusion, break the illusion two ways. About yourself. You are not the ego self, you are not the Jiva. And about the world. The world is not the way you are seeing it, a way of just terrible calamity and chaos. It's not a world of chaos. Not even a single grain in the earth is ignored in the divine creation. Everything moves with perfect precision, bringing out perfect intelligence and glory of God. Human mind may not like it. Because the mind is not perceiving the totality of things. Mind is guided by the ego. So that world is totally different. But when you step beyond your mind and ego, the world is exploding with divine glory. With the tiny little tender roots of seeds, how do they move? They move through, sometimes they move through rocks. They recognize the crack in the rocks. With a very tender way they get into it. And the divine intelligence and divine presence allows it to crack the rock. I'm just giving you an allegorical way to describe the power of faith. If you have faith in this understanding, even though you may feel that you don't have all the strength, etc., then get inspiration even from the little rootlets. How do they act? How do they survive? How do they bring forth big trees? In what way are you lesser than them? A dear relative, suppose you are traveling and you are in a train. Right close to you there is another person. Hours have passed. You have not talked to that person. Rather, every now and then you have looked at the person with a sneer. But there comes a time, little conversation starts, and the person tells about himself, where he comes from. He comes from his own village, and as in early days they were great friends. Forms, looks have changed. And the moment he knows, oh, you are that, so many memories come in, and now becomes a joyous journey. Brahman has been with you for a long time. He is not only traveling with you, but he is the conductor of the whole train. But he likes you, so he sits close to you. And you don't want to look at him. And there comes the time in satsanga, begin to recognize. Now the life becomes totally different. The God is there with you. He is the driver of the whole train, and he is especially interested in you. God not recognized, that becomes the source of sorrow, pain. When recognized, he is the dearest friend. And with this I will conclude. Om Shanti.